from fire the most of your crisis. Welcome to Unity of Sacramento Live. I'm your host, Reverend Kevin Ross. My friends call me Rev Kev, and so can you. And we want you to know that no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what you're going through or growing through, no matter how you vote or who you love, when you are here, you're at the right place, at the right time, with the right people to receive your good. And today, you'll get just that. Let's go.
I want to be more like you. Let me hear you say, I want to be more like you. I want to be more like you. Let me hear you say, I want to be more like you. I want to be more like you, yeah. I want to be more like you. I want to be more like you, yeah. I want to be more like you. More, I want to pray more like you. Let me hear you say, I want to pray more like you. Oh, I want to pray more like you. Let me hear you say, I want to pray more like you. Oh, I want to pray more like you, yeah. I want to pray more like you. Oh, I want to pray more like you, yeah. I want to pray more like you. Everybody say, I want to love more like you. Let me hear you say, I want to love more like you. Oh, I want to love more like you. Let me hear you say, I want to love more like you. Oh, I want to love more like you. I want to love more like you. Oh, I want to love more like you, yeah. I want to love more like you.
Happy Sunday, happy September, and welcome to another edition of Unity of Sacramento News Live. I'm your host, Rev Kev, here with my main man, 100 grand, Rev E's in the house.
Hey, Brother Rev, how are you?
I'm great, and I'm happy to be celebrating all of our September babies born in the month of September. Big shout out to Deborah Garcia. Happy birthday, Deborah. Also to our choir mom, Annette Greenwood. Happy birthday, Annette. And a big shout out to my godmother down in Florida, Maxine Groves. Happy birthday,
Maxine.
We are celebrating you, and we'll be celebrating you all month long. We love you and we bless you, and we cannot wait to see you again. And we're also celebrating the 21st of September with our Unity 101. Tell us all about what's happening,
Happy to, Rev. You know, it's going to be a night to remember, the 21st of September at 7 p.m. You want to join us virtually for this fantastic event. Why? Because there is a belongingness that comes with membership. So if you're not a member already, this is your opportunity. If you don't have, if you're not on our email list right now, then be sure to email us at office@unityofsacramento.com to get all of the information that you need to join us for this virtual event.
You want to be there. This is how you find out what Unity of Sacramento is all about, what we believe, what is our mission, our vision, our core values, and how to become a part of our community, how to belong. We look forward to having you there September 21st. That's 21st of September.
7 p.m.
7 o'clock p.m. Be there. It's going to be fantastic. In this topsy-turvy time that we're living in, we can't forget our little ones. And one of the things that's been pulling at my heartstrings a great deal is how my children and how your children, how are our children responding to the impact of these very challenging times that we're living in. It's a lot of instability. Things are uncertain. And what helped me was to remember what my mom used to do to help me feel safe, especially when you're sheltering in place. My mom used to tuck me in at bedtime and read me bedtime stories. She used to read out loud to me. And I can remember the feeling of the snapping of the sheets and the comforter and the smell of fabric softener because they were all fresh and the comfy pillow, and mom bringing me close and reading me the most amazing bedtime tales. And I felt safe, I felt comforted, and I felt connected. And I want to bring that back. I want us to read out loud to our little ones as we shelter in place. And so I've taken the time to share a very special story with you in a new book that I've written called The Optimistic Seed, a story of resilience. It's a little story about how a little acorn becomes a mighty oak. It's 33 beautifully illustrated pages that the young and the young at heart will find touching and inspiring and a lot of fun. I want to invite you to make sure that you get a copy and find someone in your life to read out loud to, and let them know during that time that because they're with you, they're safe. Let's shelter in place and read out loud and make a big difference in the hearts of our little ones. Thanks. And back to Unity of Sacramento Live, and a big thank you to all of you who have supported the new book launch with The Optimistic Seed. Thank you, Brother Rev. I know you sent some to some of your relatives.
Absolutely. I'm so proud of you, and congratulations on much success.
Thank you, brother. And thank you to everyone else who's deciding to do that. Our goal with the book is, of course, to encourage the young and the young at heart to bridge that connection while we shelter in place, to read out loud. It's a tradition that we want to bring back, and I think it'll be a great thing for all of us to do. So consider doing that and getting your own copy of The Optimistic Seed. Great message for these times especially. So grateful to everyone. And we want to welcome to our team our newest member, Janelle Smalls. She is the new administrative manager for Unity of Sacramento. Welcome,
Welcome
Janelle.
aboard, Janelle.
You know her bright and shiny face. There she is. We welcome you to our team. And we know that you bring great energy and vitality to us and all of your creativity. We're so glad that you're on board. And we also want to welcome our new accounting firm for Unity of Sacramento. We finally got them on board, the accounting firm called Creating Answers. They're a part of our team now. Welcome to the Creating Answers team, who will take care of our accounting. And thank you, Board of Trustees, for all of your deliberation and helping me to bring that about. Welcome, new team members. So glad to have you here. And speaking of new team members, we want to give a big shout out to our Angel Response team. All the work that you've been doing to help us through this double pandemic. We're calling on you because we need a few more of you to help us with our next big campaign called SAC Unity Votes. SAC Unity Votes. It is our voting initiative. It is our voter education initiative through Unity of Sacramento. And so we're grateful for Deborah Garcia and Deanna Kiger, who are leading the charge on that. But if you want to be a part of the team that's going to help us do some phone trees and getting information out, why don't you call us or email us right at the information that's right here on the screen and raise your hand and say, I'm in. It's so important at this time more than ever that we get voting right this election. Would you say?
Less than 60 days away.
Is it less than 60 days away? And it's a very critical election, and we want Unity of Sacramento to count. We want to make sure that you count. So please raise your hand and say aye and get to getting your name in the hat to help our SAC Unity Votes initiative. So grateful. Thank you, team leaders, for making that happen. The 10th anniversary, you want to speak to that, Rev E? You guys got something cooking?
Yes, we do. The month of October will be dedicated to Rev Kev's 10th anniversary as senior minister here at Unity of Sacramento. So you want to make certain to not only be here to, or be in front of your monitors, to be with us on those days, but also to invite your friends. We're going to show some memories. We're going to have some magical moments. We're going to show some different things that has occurred here over the course of your 10 years here.
10 years. It's been 10 whole years. But they've been 10 rich and fruitful and loving years. And I know COVID-19 kind of threw a curveball in our ability to come together to celebrate, but it's been 10 years of building and belonging to the beloved community. And so we'll get a chance to celebrate that. I can't wait to see what everybody has in store. You guys are going to do a great job, I'm sure.
And we'll be calling for you as well. We not only want you to be a part of this by viewing the 10th anniversary celebration throughout the month of October, we want you to participate. We want you to be a part of our committee. We want you to also share memories. And if this interests you, I want you to email me at reveric@unityofsacramento.com. It's going to be terrific.
And I'm so grateful for having the ability to serve you for 10 years and us serving together. 10 years of believing and building and belonging to the beloved community. It's going to be fantastic, and can't wait.
I can't wait.
10 years.
We have some surprises.
I love surprises. I really do. I'm actually one who loves surprises, so that's great. Okay, it's time for our mail call. It's time for the mail call. Let's see what we have in the mail. Revy.
Yes, our mail call starts with some loving gifts from the Dennisons.
Thank you, Dennison family. Blessings to you for writing in and sending your support to us. We appreciate you.
Also, the Buchanans wrote us this week.
Thank you, Buchanan family. We appreciate you writing in and sending your support to Unity of Sacramento. God bless you.
Our beloved Frida writes in.
Frida, thank you, beloved. All the way in Kansas City. We love and bless you, and we appreciate your generous support.
And wonderful donations from Gladys and Ralph.
Thank you, Gladys and Ralph, for your contributions. We really appreciate all that you do to keep us
live and in action on your behalf. Thanks so much.
And Rev, I have to share this beautiful letter from Margaret. She writes, "Dear Unity staff, this week I received a call from your wonderful volunteer, Brenda Renfro.
Hey, Brenda.
Hey, Brenda. I feel badly that I have not been more active during this difficult time of COVID and social upheaval. Thank you so much for reaching out to me with a kind word. I was so touched that I got teary-eyed."
Oh,
yes.
That's wonderful.
"I have been lucky during these challenging times, unlike so many who are homeless and jobless. So many people have suffered horrendous losses. Thank you for letting all of your Unity family know that you were thinking of them. I wish you the best as you send love and light to others. With deep appreciation for Rev Kev and all of his church family, Margaret."
Margaret, give me that letter. Let me just put it to my heart. Margaret, oh, virtual hug for you, sending you love. And we so appreciate that you take the time to write to us and share with us the impact that the ministry is having on your life. It means so much to us. We love you, we bless you, and we encourage you to keep your head up. This is not a setback, it's a setup for a comeback. We're all in this together. I love you so much. Love all of you. I want to take a moment to acknowledge our angel response team for their tremendous work on making sure that I'm in touch with members of our spiritual community as we move through and get those love touches out to you on our behalf. Rev E and I are very busy working on behalf of this ministry, but we couldn't do it without our angel response team, and we give thanks to our head angel, Valerie Ross, for taking the lead and helping coordinate all of our efforts. And speaking of Valerie Ross, she has a prayer request for her mother, Gail Ross, and we just want to take a moment. Gail is in ICU right now, and she's calling for our agreement with her on her complete and total restoration and healing. And so we come together as a beloved community to affirm that from the crown of her head to the tip ends of her toes, she is quickened with the life and the light and the allness of spirit. Every cell, muscle, tissue, fiber, and system and function of her being begins to remember its unique purpose, and that is to walk in league with health and vitality and wholeness. And the activity of the whole Spirit of God saturates her, and every sinew begins to remember, restore, re-energize, renew, refresh by the power of God within. Thank you, God. We place our beloved Gail in our care and keeping. Just send some love and hearts in the chat room on behalf of Gail. Just saturate her right now. She feels it. She's connected to this love field that is Unity of Sacramento. We hold you in the highest, Gail, as you move through this transformational process in the body temple. Your soul is in perfect tact to counteract what's happening in the body temple. Thank you so much for the invitation to stand with you in the truth. We love you. We bless you. And Val, we got you covered too. Amen.
Amen.
We also want to celebrate our beloved Alpha Higgins. We got word from a member of our angel response team and Brother Isaac that we should reach out to Alpha. I had a conversation and visit with Alpha. She's doing great. She was just so energized. I mean, we were laughing, cracking jokes, and crying and praying and signifying.
Oh, I can see her now.
God love and bless you, Alpha, and everybody who's been with us looking after our one of the matriarchs of this ministry, our beloved Alpha Higgins. She's doing great, and just want to give you that little bit of an update.
Thank you for that update, Rev.
And keep those alerts coming in. If there are individuals in our ministry that you know who may not be getting this live stream or having direct access to our ministry, make sure that we know about it, okay? Write to us or call us. We're responsive. We want to get our arms around spiritually every member of our spiritual community, all right?
Absolutely.
Well, before we go, we wanted to give parents
a little insight. Of course, each week we bring you a little bit of Kayvon, and we're getting good news about how much you're enjoying Kayvon. But we also want to speak to parents who have questions about what to do with your kids in COVID-19. And our own Dr. David Montgomery, we call him Dr. Dave, he spent some time on Morning Express on CNN recently to give his thoughts on what we can be thinking about with the latest science with COVID-19. We look forward to being with you next week. Until then, peace and blessings.
Preventative cardiologist, Dr. Dave Montgomery. Good morning. So
Good
you have
morning
two daughters.
To you, Robin. Happy Friday.
Yeah. You have two daughters. Would you feel comfortable sending them to school right now if you look at the guidelines?
Yeah, Robin, you know, the guidelines concern me a little bit with this sort of widespread leniency. It's not detailed enough. I'll tell you, when I look at this objectively, Robin, I ask myself, how do we really know that children don't do poorly with COVID-19? How do we know what the real numbers are when we don't test children? I ask people in my staff, I ask people around the country as I talk to them in preparing for today, and I ask them, how many of your children have been tested for COVID-19? How many of your adolescents have been tested? None of them. And so we are not testing children. When we do test children, as in Florida, 11,000 adolescents positive for COVID-19, we see that maybe we don't quite know as much about COVID-19 in children. We certainly aren't testing enough in adults, and for children it's much less. Here's the other part. Let's say that we send our children off and they don't do as poorly, right? They don't spread it as much and they don't get as sick. Children aren't going to school in a silo. They are going to school with other kids, going to school with staff and teachers. This virus, the model shows, will get passed from one kid who is not infected to another kid, and it will take it to his home or her home and give it to somebody who may do poorly. These are the reasons, objectively, that I'm not going to send my kids back. I'm not comfortable with this.
Yeah, you had said that you made that decision. It looked like you were on that side of the argument, and so now, even with the guidance, a good explanation of why you're going to do that. And because I know patients will ask you, well, what about you, doctor? What have you decided?
Absolutely.
You know, what about the possibility in the talk that maybe the warm weather would help this virus somehow die out or disappear for a season? We're at 101 degrees to your skin in the upper Midwest. I think we're there in terms of hot weather. That's not panning out, though.
Not panning out. This is another example of how we can't make any assertions about this. This is truly a novel virus. What we were saying is that the models show that in the summertime we're gonna get a decrease. Yesterday was 95 degrees right here in Atlanta. The numbers of both cases and deaths are going up. That model goes out the window. Use your own common sense, objective sense about, is this affecting you, and do the two things that we know work. Stay away from people. You can call it distancing or whatever, and wear a mask properly.
Now, I'm going to ask you this as a cardiologist yourself there. The CDC says that about 41% of the people who have coronavirus had at least one underlying medical condition that gave them a higher risk of getting it. Like what type of conditions are we talking about? Your heart doctor. What
yeah, absolutely. And we see, you know, patients with a number of conditions. To your point, the CDC also says about 40% of Americans at least have an underlying condition that portends poorly for COVID. You'll see on your screen that things like cardiovascular disease, including hypertension that's out of control. You'll see chronic kidney disease, people on dialysis, for example, diabetes, obesity. Right? A third or so of Americans, 18% of children obese, and then COPD like emphysema and asthma as well.
You know, I threw out there AFib, not for any reason, just because I know that you're a heart doctor, so that's what came to mind. Is something like that considered a pre-existing condition or no?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, heart disease in a big lump. You hit a really important point, Robin, yet again. Heart disease is very widespread. I mean, in terms of the different kinds of heart disease, if you have a rhythm abnormality like AFib, irregular heart rate, it can cause you to have heart failure. If you have heart failure with COVID-19, you stand to do very, very poorly, if not die from COVID-19.
Well, thank you for a plethora of information. I appreciate it. Dr. Dave Montgomery.
Now, from quarantine to distance learning and now social unrest, our kids are seeing a lot, even if we're doing our best to filter it all. Lots of parents and kids are trying to navigate 2020 the best way they can. I talked to Rev Kev with Unity Church in Sacramento, who says they've gotten creative.
Hi, my name is Kayvon, and it's playtime. Kayvon is my friend from school.
What color is Kayvon?
Blue.
Blue? Why is he blue?
Because his name is Kayvon.
It doesn't matter that Kayvon is blue and looks a lot different than everyone else to 4-year-old Masai. All that matters is that Kayvon is his friend and he teaches him stuff too.
I know about the virus. It makes you sick. You have to keep your hands washed. And you have to wash your hands like this.
How do you know how long to wash your hands?
Maybe for 20 minutes.
Okay, maybe he got that 20 part right.
He has the same scarf I had on.
8-year-old Aaliyah watches Kayvon online too.
He wears a blue jacket and he is blue. He's funny and he has great jokes. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
The interrupting cow.
The interrupting cow who?
Moo.
Even if you've heard that one a time or two before, for kids, it's pretty simple. They just want to know that everything is going to be okay.
You want to say your affirmations, positive statements that lift up your spirit.
And that's exactly what Rev Kev from Unity Church in Sacramento says he's trying to accomplish with Kayvon.
Well, not only is it unsafe and uncertain, it's scary and they feel unstable. He shows children how to manage through difficult times like COVID-19 and like the double pandemic that we're living in.
And Masai and Aaliyah's mom says there's substance to his virtual playdates too.
It's been challenging having to be inside all the time, and especially more recently with the smoke, we can't even go outside.
He's offered some practical advice and some prayer and some simple prayers for the children. And he sings songs and he's funny, so he's entertaining for them.
All right, so let's get you some tips to help these kids out because they need us right now, right? First off, validate their feelings. Don't avoid talking about serious subjects, but be clear, direct, and factual, and always encourage questions. Even if you don't have the answer, get their minds to work.
When love is free, we connect and let go of our mask and bear ourselves. One more time. Connect. When love is free, we connect and let go of our mask and bear ourselves in the love that we share. And where are we when we lose touch? I love you so much. And ourselves. So let's get connected somehow before the sun goes down. All that is in nature and in all creation celebrates more love to come, and love is changing every season. Flowers need the rain and sun. Just smile again. Connect. When love is free, we connect and let go of our mask and share our love in the space that is here before the sun goes down. before the sun goes down.
Come on in, beloveds. Let's get close. Let's connect. Let's be here together. There is a word here for you. There is a moment where we will encounter the presence of God together. I'm so glad that we're here together. And I just want to again reiterate that no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter how you found your way here, no matter who you love, no matter how you vote, you are here now in this beloved community. And our single most important goal is to inspire you to awaken to your divine nature and be a force for good in the world. And one of the ways we do that inspiring work is by loving you. And so know that in this moment, you are loved, you are seen, you are appreciated for being here. And I know that you join us at a time of unprecedented crisis that's moving through our world. If you are on this planet right now, you are a witness to unprecedented crisis all at once. It all seems to be happening: fires and floods and plagues and division and racism of the highest order. We are seeing everything that feels apocalyptic. And so I understand if you come to today's time of sharing today with any sense of heaviness or tension or stress or anxiety. I understand that. And I also understand if you come here with great rejoicing and you come here with a sense of relief because you're coming away from a break of all of the onslaught that is going on in the world of effects. However you come here, I am glad that you're here. And today I want to speak to you from the topic, the unwasted crisis. The unwasted crisis. Unleashing your most prolific self. I'm reminded of the words of Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays, the former president of Morehouse College and the mentor to Martin Luther King Jr. We were drilled over and over as freshmen with these words. He said, "You have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon you, can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it. You must suffer if you lose it, give an account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but an eternity is in it. You have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon you, can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it. You must suffer if you lose it, give an account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but an eternity is in it." And this minute, this moment, this season, this time that we are being given is an opportunity for us to make the most of. Yes, we are living in a period of crisis. And let me define crisis for a moment, because I think it's worth getting a working definition of crisis and perhaps rethinking that in this moment that will support us in moving forward in these times. But one of the definitions of crisis is a time of intense difficulty, trouble, danger, or opportunity. A time of intense difficulty, trouble, danger, and then I added, or opportunity. And so depending upon how you are experiencing your own thoughts determines whether you are thriving or drowning in these particular times. Type in the chat room, "I choose to make the most of this crisis." Come on, I choose to make the most of this crisis. That a crisis may be intense, yes,
A crisis may feel like it is bringing about a tremendous warning, yes. But depending upon which side of this razor-thin blade you fall upon determines whether you are thriving, whether you are drowning. And of course, you didn't come here to sit with me today so that you can drown, so that you can be taken under by this. You came here because you know that there is a word for you to remind you that you're here to thrive. So how do we get at it? How do we get to the place where we can shift from all of the information that we are witnessing, experiencing, and seeing on a daily basis? Nothing makes us more in touch with a crisis like fire. If you're in the state of California, this part of our state is literally on fire. The intensity of this fire is so much so that there are days when we can't even breathe. We can't go outside and play and enjoy ourselves on top of a pandemic. And so I know that if your eyes are giving you the information, it's hard for you to come to the place with me to see opportunity. What opportunity? I want you to hear some more words that are poetic, very similar to what Dr. Mays said. This is James Allen, the author of As a Man Thinketh. He says, mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought, and shaping what he wills, creates 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. He sees in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. Mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought. Let's put tool of thought up here on the shelf. We're coming back to this one. Type in the chat room, the tool of thought. The tool of thought. The tool of thought, and shaping what he wills, creates 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. Creates 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. He sees in secret, but it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. And so if we want to have an unwasted crisis, an unspoiled crisis, a crisis that we get the most of, then we must come to understand this tool called thought. And yes, today, I know I'm normally and ordinarily connecting my message to the larger vision for the world, working for all. And yes, it's always connected to that. But today, just for today, I want you to be spiritually selfish. I want us to be able to look at ourselves today and be for a moment a dedicated individualist. I want you to look at yourself as an individualized soul, a unique, unrepeatable miracle of God, a soul sent on assignment. And I want you to recognize that as a part of the development of your soul on this planet, we must come to understand and work with the tool of thought. The tool of thought. Because it is thoughts that make things real for you and for me. So our second unity principle speaks to the value and power of thought. We teach here that our thoughts create our reality.
Dr. Johnny Coleman says it this way: thoughts are things, you are the thinker that thinks the thought that makes the thing. Thoughts are things, you are the thinker that thinks the thought that makes the thing. In the first person, thoughts are things, I am the thinker that thinks the thought that makes the thing. And so it is my thought that is determining whether or not the circumstances I'm finding myself in is either an opportunity or it is a danger and an impossibility for me. It is either pressing open a door to a favorable future or slamming shut one and keeping me stuck in my tracks. Where is my thought? And I want to invite you today, as we start interpreting what's going on out here, I want you to come to the place where you see the conditions that seem to be pressing us on every side to be like that cocoon. Everybody knows the journey of the caterpillar. At a certain point, the caterpillar is now placed in a seeming trap, shrouded on all sides and seemingly unable to move. Who knows what I'm talking about? Who knows that feeling of being stuck on all sides? Well, I can't go to church, can't send the kids to school, can barely go to the grocery store without all these restrictions, can't go outside. Somehow or other, everywhere I turn, there's something trapping me in. If you and I can tip our thought in a direction that is rooted in our relationship to Source, and this is something I want you to remember throughout this period, because I know that the caterpillar comes to discover this. If we can speak to our Source, to the relationship with our Source, then we come to remember this in thought when I am shrouded upon on all sides. I remember that the nature of God is absolute good. The nature of God is absolute good. Therefore, ready? The will of God for me is absolute good. Type that in the chat room. The will of God for me is absolute good. Type it again. The will of God for me is absolute good. Please do not give your thought over to the idea that somehow, some way, God is trying to get the best of you, the better of you, that has sent these things in your life to break you. That's some of the talk that's going on. People blaming it on God. It was not sent to break you. It was sent to make you. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's what the chrysalis is for. That's what the cocoon is for. That's what being trapped in on all sides are for. You know, life is not a one sprint after the next. It's not one spring after the next. And if you believe it is so, you are naive. Sometimes it's the long, distant, less traveled road. The road that we're least familiar with. The lonely road. The stony road. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes that's what life is about. And so the understanding that you and I can have immediately as we move our focus from crisis being something that's happening to me to this crisis being something that's happening for me is to always remember my relationship with the source is always rooted in this idea of absolute good. God's will for me is absolute good. Therefore, ready? Therefore, anything that is coming to me is coming for me. Anything that is coming into my life is coming as a blessing. I don't care what disguise it's wearing. I am going to wrestle with it until it blesses me. 2020, you came for me and I didn't send for you, but since you are here, you will give me the full benefit of my good, because I know that God has conspired for my highest good and my greatest joy. Put it in the chat room. Say, it came to happen for me. It came for me and I was blessed. We move from the common consciousness that wants to get caught in the density of ain't it awful and finding all of the evidence for why you cannot succeed. Pop out of that for a moment. Snap out of that for a moment. This is for my growth. Come on, type that in the chat room. This is for my growth. If we can give ourselves the understanding that this is for my growth, then we will seek the good in every situation. Are you with me? I want to be on a hunt for the good. Can I look for the good, though darkness encamp around me? I can imagine what the caterpillar must feel like when all the lights went out. When it felt and it feels straitjacketed by the seeming, everybody say seeming, the seeming appearance of the end. Oh, if you're looking with your outer eyes, yes, it looks like the seeming appearance of the end. All of the signs are pointing to the end. Ha! But this is why the master teacher tells us, judge not according to the appearances. The appearances are illusions. The appearances are distractions. The appearances are there for those who refuse to see God at all times, despite what the conditions are. This is the time where we begin more and more to exercise our faith. It's not any of use to us to simply have faith. We must exercise the faith that we have. And we don't do that in the sprints of life, in the springs of life. We don't exercise faith in the sprints and in the springs. We exercise faith in the long, dark, cold winters. That's where faith gets exercised. You don't need your headlights when it's sunshiny outside. You need your headlights when it's dark, when it's darkest, when it's seemingly no road ahead. Come on now. Type in the chat room, I'm turning on my headlights. Come on, type in, I'm turning on my headlights. And what are the headlights? The lights of the head is faith and imagination. Faith and imagination. That's what lights the skies of consciousness. Faith, my capacity to see in the invisible, to hear the inaudible, to handle the intangible, to see God despite the appearances, to see 20 feet ahead of future. That's all I need is just 20 feet ahead. 20 feet ahead. That's all I need is just 20 feet ahead. Imagination. is that capacity to visualize and to envision what's beyond the darkness. Not what's within the dark, what's beyond the darkness. I'm seeing something for myself. I'm seeing what this is, how the effect that this is having on me. I'm growing, I'm transforming, I'm going to be stronger and more beautiful than ever before. Listen, for those of us who weather 2020, 2021 and beyond will find you unstoppable. If you will faint not, in due season you shall reap a harvest. Type in the chat room, I will faint not. Or simply, I faint not. I faint not. This is working for me. In the barren season, we must remember if it is not the harvest, it must be the seed. If it is not the harvest, it must be the seed. So when it seems slim, when it seems scarce, when it seems in low quantity, you're working with the seed. If it is not the harvest, it must be the seed. If it's not the harvest, it must be the seed. What do I mean by this? That in the barren, long, and cold season of where it seems to be that my good is not present, you're not dealing with your harvest, you're dealing with the seed. So this means it's time for me, do you hear me? It's time for me in what seems to be the most difficult period of my life to be planting the most seeds, since that's all I have anyway to work with. I've got good ideas to work with. I've got my gifts and talents and skills. That's all I've got. I've got my gifts and talents and skills. I've got some good ideas. I've got time. This is what I have control over. So right here and now, I'm planting seeds for a future that promises that I will succeed. I plant seeds to succeed. I plant seeds to succeed. And so during this time, during this period where it's darkest, your most prolific, your most productive, your most active and proactive self can be unleashed. There's an old song Walter Hawkins has. He says, don't wait until the battle's over. Shout now. Don't wait till it's all over. Shout now. Take advantage of it right now. Foresee, project your future now. See yourself as being successful and do the things that you would do under seemingly favorable conditions. But I want you to know that this shelter-in-place period, there you are in the cocoon, sheltering in place. It's dark, it's cold, it's lonely. It feels like it's the end. Oh, but there you are, locked in with God, catching your best ideas, getting your greatest inspiration, being reminded of who you are and whose you are, wrapped up in the very arms of Spirit, being made into something, dying to your old former self because you've had time to think about the ways in which you no longer wish to be, the ways that no longer serve you. You're feeling something of a death happening in your life. You're feeling the melting away of old habits, for former things are now passed away. And behold, I will make something new. You're being reformed in this holding period, in this shelter-in-place period, in this period of the cocoon. Surrender to it. This is coming for your growth. I'm speaking to somebody today. I'm speaking to somebody today. Somebody needs to hear it. Type it in. This is for my growth. 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 When you can come to see that this is for your growth, then that period that we all go through, that visitation of this dark night of the soul, rather than allowing the things that we see in the darkness, rather than allowing those things that we see in the darkness to frighten us, to make us feel like we've been framed for the worst possible outcome, rather than allowing ourselves to be frightened by the things that we see in the dark. Allow those things that you see in the dark to help you focus. I want you to focus more intensely than ever before. What is the dream that God has placed in your heart? What is the desire that God has placed in your heart? What is the calling that is placed upon your life right now? Focus intensely on it, because a crisis is a period, an intense period of not danger, not trouble, but opportunity. Here's the truth of the caterpillar who feels like he's coming to the end of his rope. Everything about him is changing, moving through spiritual chemicalization. The very thing that he has known, the familiar known, is moving from around him or her. Everything that gave it a sense of self is dissolving. But then something wonderful happens. That seeming ending is really a birthing. What's happening in your life right now? How are you managing the crisis, or yourself in the crisis? Are you struggling? Are you on the brink? Is it pressing you to the edge? And you're at that intersection between choosing to either succumb to the cynicism or to become intensely focused on your future and do what you must to make the most of your crisis. Where are you with it? My invitation to you is to pivot, focus on your future, focus on the possibility that you can become. This is a time to get more education. This is a time to study more. This is a time to open that business and start putting the paperwork in. This is a time to write the book. This is a time to develop your voice. This is a time to work out more intensely. Whatever it is, put the intense focus on it. Seed planting time. To succeed, you must sow seed. To succeed, you must sow seed. Your most prolific self is just around the corner. And I don't want to minimize what it's like. But I know some people are moving in that other direction. They're not letting COVID take them out, they're taking themselves out. Some are doing it with alcohol, drugs. Some are doing it in self-sabotaging behaviors. Some are going into suicide by cop. Some just can't see a way, and since they can't see a way, they're letting themselves succumb. But I want you to remember the psalmist. Here it is, the 23rd Psalm, the 4th verse. The 4th verse. Somebody type in 23:4. The 4th verse. The 4th verse. The 4th verse of the 23rd Psalm. It says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." And so my invitation to you, beloveds, yes, you will encounter the shadow. You will be in the valley of the shadow of death. It is the shadow. It is the shadow because something must die. Something has to be expired and be deceased inside of that cocoon. In order for this beautiful butterfly to be released. And so as your former self dies, welcome it, for thou art with me. God in me is doing a perfect work. God in me is transforming me for my greatest good, my most prolific, my most productive, my best self yet. And guess what? When you can see this, then you'll start to see that the chrysalis, hey, everything that was trapping you, whatever had you bound, will start to break open because now you have eyes and you can see. You have ears and you can hear. And now you have wings and you can fly. Because in due season, you did not faint. You continue to see God, good, love through the whole situation. And so here's my word for 2020. I shall have undefeated praise. You will not take my joy. You will not take my praise. You will not take my potential. You will not take my blessing. Oh, I came here for a blessing and I'm leaving here with the blessing. Whether you like it or not, 2020, I'm getting everything that is mine by divine right. So help me God, I'm getting it all. And so get thee behind me. I'm on my way. And so it is written, and so I have spoken it, and so you have heard it, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Ashe. Aho. Shalom. Om Shanti. Namaste. Well, if you're anything like me, you have been blessed today. Your soul has been fed. You can see a way out of no way. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You have ideas moving through your consciousness right about now about how you're going to make the most of this crisis. You're going to turn your mess into a message. You're going to turn that trouble into transition, and you can see a future worth fighting for. And that's what you get when you come here to Unity of Sacramento, a community that is saturated and steeped in unconditional love, committed to grounding you and equipping you and preparing you to be a force for good in the world. And so with that, we count on your support to keep this message literally moving all across the country and throughout the world over 5 different platforms every single week. Without fail, we have been your crisis connection. We are the place that you can tap into day or night 24/7. And though we are socially distanced, you still can make your spiritual connection. That's our commitment to you. And so we're inviting you to be of support to this great work, to support this with your tithes, your love offerings, your generous gifts to this ministry. It helps to keep all of this going. Even your campus, even though you're not here, we have to keep your campus up and running and tip-top shape and condition, and making sure that things are great when you come back. And we're making sure that all of our team and staff are taken care of to the best of our ability. So I invite you to invest in fertile ground. We're reminded from Scripture that when you give, it is given back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. You want to activate the power of overflow in your life? Start with the seed. Start with the seed. Learn not to eat your seed. Don't eat your seed. Plant it so that when the crisis comes, you're not out of harvest. You've got plenty to draw from. That's the promise that we learn here. It's a spiritual law that we practice. So I want you to get engaged. And I'm asking 10 more of you to join us in our auto tithing process. 10 more of you to be recurring donors to Unity of Sacramento. Every week, you decide on a tithe amount that you're going to designate that will be automatically deducted. You set it, you forget it, and it happens year round, and it keeps all of this great programming happening. You download our app, and you can do it very easily. And here's how you can give in other ways to Unity of Sacramento.
You can always go to www.unityofsacramento.com. Right there on the front page, on the top, you will see a donation button. Click that button. It will take you to our safe and secure push pay portal. You can also give from our app. Our app is also safe and secure. This is the way that I love to give. It's so easy.
Me too.
Just download the app onto your smartphone or your tablet, and then from there, look on the front page on the bottom for the giving heart. Press the heart. It will also take you to our push pay portal. And then finally, you can do what you saw so many people do. They love to write us. You can write us as well. Write us at Unity of Sacramento, 9249 Folsom Boulevard, Sacramento, California, 95826.
More now than ever before, people are shopping online. It's another way to support your spiritual community. You can simply go to Amazon Smile and look for Unity of Sacramento. Select us as your preferred non-for-profit. And when you're shopping, you will automatically be making a contribution to Unity of Sacramento. So consider using Amazon Smile when you are shopping, and select Unity of Sacramento. And that's another way you can support this beloved community. So I know that you're now ready to give. You're now ready to be a contribution to this ministry. You're sowing. You're determining how you're going to contribute, even through Venmo or Cash App. You're also looking at the embedded links on our Facebook Live platforms, and you are choosing the way you're impacting. Some of you are saying, I'm one of the 10. If you're one of the 10, put in the chat room, I'm one of the 10. Just type it in there, I'm one of the 10. And encourage other people why it's important to do that. Some of you know the power of the blessing that comes when you walk in this way of faith. And I've been with you here 10 years, a living testimony of the power of God in action to bless you when you're giving. Let's take a moment now and bless our tithe, our love offering, our supporting gift to this ministry. Will you join me? Divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies this offering. It blesses me as the giver. It blesses Unity of Sacramento as the receiver, and returns to me blessed and multiplied in a never-ending cycle of increase and enjoyment, ever-flowing, overflowing, instantly, constantly, perfectly, and permanently from all points in the universe. God's rich supply comes to me now. It comes to you now. And so it is. Thanks again so much for contributing to this ministry. Make sure to do your part this week. Make sure to consider being one of the 10 if you haven't already done so. But be a part of fueling and funding this powerful idea whose time has come. Well, we would love to hang out with you all afternoon long, but I know some of us have other things to do. And so we're going to say goodbye for this week. But as you leave us this week, know that we are holding you in prayer. We're thinking about you. We're loving you. And we want you to know that we're a point of awareness in the mind of spirit. If you just think a thought in the direction of Unity of Sacramento, there you have found your love connection, because we're here to love you through this period that we're moving through right now. We go from this place, though, knowing that we commit to designing lives of purpose, passion, peace, and prosperity, and being a force for good in the world. I'll see you next week. Peace and blessings.
With a special message just for you. We are all family.
Clap your hands like this, if you believe in love.